What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. We're going to be doing a couple videos here without the camera. Personally, I think the camera does make the videos a lot better, but it does also make them take a lot longer to make, so I kind of wanted to just get some of these done, so we're doing it without the camera. Before we get started, I want to thank Moot for sponsoring this video. If you guys haven't seen it yet, Moot.us is a new community platform where you guys can share your favorite GIFs, pictures, videos of your sick plays, and more with other gamers that share your same interests. You can comment on other posts or upvote them to get them to the top, and while you do all this posting, commenting, upvoting, and other activity on the site, you can level up to compete against other friends. If you guys are interested in Fortnite, PUBG, Pokemon Go, Overwatch, or even League of Legends, then you guys should check them out on iOS, on Android, or on PC by just going straight to moot.us. Feel free to link maybe some of our videos for some free upvotes, or maybe link some plays of your own, and if you guys want to check it out, make sure you download it today by following the link at the description. For the longest time, Riot was really obsessed with the meta, and a lot of people in the community noticed that whenever an interesting new build came along, Riot would start dishing out nerfs in an attempt to get the meta back under control. For a game with so many options when it comes to champions, items, or runes, this tends to be pretty frustrating because it kind of feels like you're being limited to what Riot wanted to be played in the LCS. Playing anything else just tends to be not that viable, especially when it comes to ranked queues. This actually started to change after they added the new rune system, since one of the design goals was to let players have some pretty cool actual customization again, and we're starting to see some of that creativity leak back into some cool new item builds too. And so today we're taking a look at a bunch of these really cool and crazy off-meta builds to show for you guys, and thanks to the hard work of one of our challenger rated analysts behind the scene, eThug, who helped us put together this list of 8 awesome and also still very viable off-meta builds that you can actually still do really well with, especially when it comes to ranked games. And so if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it or let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for some more videos. So the first off-meta build we've got today is this crazy health-only Zac build that isn't really going to be particularly good in high elos where people might exploit his weaknesses, but it's going to be super fun and will definitely work in some lower tier ranked games. So the basic idea is that you quickly rush your Cinder Hulk and then start stacking health items like crazy. You can either rush straight into one of the 3 Warmogs that you'll have by the end of the build, or you can first build into a locket of the Iron Solari. The magic resist can give you a little bit of safety while you keep stacking your health, but what you really want out of this item is the active effects massive shield. The active gives you and nearby teammates a shield that scales based on the caster's bonus health, so not only are you getting that huge health stack, but you're also getting the ability to shield your team for just a ridiculous amount of damage. The shield is equal to 2% of your bonus health for every level you have, so at level 10 it's 20% of your bonus health, maxing at 36% at level 18. And the other cool thing about this build is that Zac's Q scales with his max HP, so you can actually push out quite a lot of damage due to this scaling, and of course you also receive crazy amounts of healing, both from your Warmogs and from your passive. Any players that don't know how to build versus high amounts of health stacking are definitely going to really struggle to kill you for sure. Our next build of the day is a Nidalee jungle build where instead of immediately going to the usual items, you actually rush a Frostfang as your first item. This is actually a very underrated strategy for quite a few reasons. First off, it's not really a huge gold investment to get a hold of the Frostfang at a cost of only 850 gold, but for that you get a nice boost to your damage, extra gold on hit, and the best part is that jungle camps do not pause the tribute passive like normal creeps do. Once you've earned back 750 gold with Frostfang, the tribute passive upgrades to Queen's Tribute, giving you a handy 50% move speed bonus whenever you use a charge. And this is huge for a mobile champion who really wants to chase down targets, exactly like Nidalee, making it a really cool item to pick up in solo queue when you've got a fairly good chance of finding targets alone and ready to be hunted down. To make the build work, start your Nidalee jungle game with the normal items, a Hunter's Machete and Potions, then take both your buffs and the wolves, or just go for a full clear if it's going quite well. From this point you want to aim for at least 350 gold for Spell Thief's Edge, or wait for the full 850 to complete Frostfang before you base. Once it's complete, you get a nice power spike that can give you enough power to start snowballing into the rest of the items, and the gold generation from it helps speed things up for the late game as well. Next up, we have the Ghostblade Electrocute Rek'sai build, which our analyst eThug tends to use actually when playing around Diamond, Elo, and lower. It's a pretty easy one to follow. Make sure you have the Electrocute rune, then rush a Ghostblade after completing your jungle item with the Warrior enchantment. This sets you up to have some absolutely insane early game damage, turning you into a one-shot monster when fighting against squishier targets. It works kinda like a Kha'Zix with attack speed, and you can abuse it further by setting up death lanes with your tunnels. That basically means just hanging out in the enemy jungle near Gromper golems, then killing their laners whenever they try to return to the lanes. You can definitely catch people completely off guard, escape with the tunnels if you get into trouble, and make the build even more obnoxious by picking up a Guardian Angel as your third item to help keep that snowball rolling. Now our next build is especially weird, and it's from a high tier diamond top lane main that wanted to try something a little bit out of the ordinary. So the build is pretty similar to a conventional AD carry build with an Essence Reaver thrown in, but the weird bit is that you do it on LeBlanc. This build was invented to give their creator a way to transition his Riven skills into playing LeBlanc, and essentially it's all about using your kit for mobility and crowd control while dishing out massive damage from your auto attacks. Obviously LeBlanc doesn't really have any AD skillings, so you aren't going to get the benefit from full AD items, but the consistent auto attack damage combined with their mobility as a champion actually works quite well and can allow you to really stomp games in certain matchups. Next up, we have another crazy jungle strategy, which is Attack Speed Bard. Now this is one that our analyst actually went up against in solo queue, and he noted that it actually didn't really matter at all how much time his team spent trying to shut it down. Once Attack Speed Bard reaches a certain point in the game, he becomes incredibly annoying to play against. The build is pretty much exactly what you'd guess. You get some Berserker Greaves, Skirmisher's Saber with the Blood Razor enchantment, Blade of the Rune King, and Ginsu's Rage Blade. And with those three items, you can pretty much 1v1 just about any champion in the game thanks to your Red Smite, the easy kiting, and the slows you dish out with all of your meeps. You can also pick up a Wit's End and maybe a Rapid Fire Cannon, since they will further increase your on-hit potential and also give you a lot more versatility. So taking advantage of tank AP scaling isn't exactly a new invention, but we've got an AP Malphite build from the legend himself, Hotshot GG, up next that can actually turn a relatively boring champion into an awesome one-shot carry. It's definitely less effective as you climb higher, since people start being able to flash away from your ultimate in time and maybe take a little bit more advantage of your cooldowns, but in lower ranks you'll almost never get countered. And personally, I have had a lot of success with this build, and more than anything else, I just think it's just a ton of fun to play. Start off with the Sorcerer's Boots, Morellonomicon, and Luden's Echo are all considered pretty core for this build, and you should also consider maybe a Haunting Guise for the extra health and Magic Pen, as well as a Death Cap to boost those ratios even higher. Once you've got a few items, you can simply ult an enemy squishy to delete most of their health bar, follow up with your Q and E, and can usually one-shot them. Now following a similar concept to AD LeBlanc top, we've got AD Ahri bottom up next. She's got a lot of built-in survivability thanks to her charm and mobility, and by stacking traditional AD carry items, you can start building up quite a lot of damage. Now this build was popularized by famous Ahri player Vertigal, who advises waiting for your second item power spike before forcing fights and trying to snowball a lead. You've also got a reasonable amount of sustain and base damage in your abilities, so you'll mostly focus on using those in the early game until you build up enough attack damage to start winning trades. The two items you want to grab fast at the beginning are Blade of the Rune King and Static Shiv, and from that point forward, you're going to start dealing a lot of damage. Now the last build we've got for you guys today is AP Nasus, but this time in mid lane rather than in the top lane. So most players probably know AP Nasus is crazy strong thanks to the Lichbane procs on his Q and huge AP scaling on his E, but a lot of people don't realize how aggressive you can actually get with all of that damage. eThug mentioned that he once played with Skara on his team playing AP Nasus mid, and he was instantly just clearing waves, stacking his Q to the point where he could split push and take objectives unbelievably quickly using that Lichbane proc. So our recommended build for this one is Luden's Echo Rush into the Mask, then Sheen and Lichbane. From that point forward, you can pick up whichever AP items you think will help you most in the game. Remember to spend as much time clearing waves as possible. The enemy team's definitely going to underestimate how quickly you can push lanes, and it means you'll get those pricey items really quickly too. Either way, that's all of our crazy off-meta builds for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed them, and make sure you check out some of our other fun build videos. There's a lot of stuff you can do in-game that works better than you might expect. Either way, it looks like that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.